Good morning. It's Thursday morning, January 5th, and I wanted to take a minute to try to articulate what's happening here in Washington. It's difficult to exactly explain it, and I'll do my best, and it changes by the minute, and at least the rumors of it changing by the minute. So we've taken a number of votes to elect a speaker, and you probably all know this, but it's not a simple majority. You have to have the majority of those present. But for that, the Democrats would have actually prevailed because their speaker candidate actually received more votes than Kevin McCarthy. But the magic number is 218 if everybody's there. That number could change a little bit if people vote present or if they don't come. But right now, Kevin or the future speaker needs to obtain 218. Kevin's sitting right around 200 votes. There's about 20 members who have voted for somebody else. And quite frankly, every day have changed who they're voting for. Yesterday, it was Brian Daniels from Florida. I suspect it will be him today, but it was Jim Jordan the day before, and the day before that, it was somebody else. So I'm not quite sure where that will land today. I had a chance to talk to some of these individuals who I consider very good friends and very genuine. I think those not voting for Kevin to fall into several categories. They can't all be put into one exact category. Some, I don't believe their intentions are good. They're just simply angry at Kevin, angry at the world, angry at politics, angry at Washington, and refuse to vote for Kevin for Speaker, regardless of what he offers or says or works out with them. They just won't vote for Kevin. The several that I've talked to consider good friends and are very well intentioned and have some legitimate concerns, primarily about business as usual here in Washington. I don't know that I can blame them for those concerns. As a matter of fact, I joined them in those concerns. And they don't feel like that Kevin will change Washington. It will be business as usual. And so they've tried to get a number of commitments from Kevin that would indicate that things would be different. And to be frank, the concessions made by Kevin are pretty large and significant, and I think very important for our district and for the state of Utah. Some issues that have bothered Utahns for a long time have been addressed. One of them I know that's a sore subject is that the bills would just have one subject. Nothing could be added to them unless it was germane. That's a big deal, and I think that's important. Concessions on the way that we budget and not voting for these large omnibus bills and throwing all sorts of things into them. So there are a number of things that could go through in another video. If that rules package looks like it will pass, we'll do that. We'll take some time to explain what's in that rules package. But I think some pretty important points have been made by this group. The problem is that once they've achieved these commitments and these promises and these rules changes, they're still not willing to vote for Kevin. And it gives some the feeling that they'll just move the goalposts and never really intended to be good players in this. And last night, there were rumors of even more concessions. I'll be going to be shortly and find out what those are. You might not be surprised that a number of Republicans feel like, wait a minute, we all want concessions. There's things that I want, or there's things I don't like in the concessions that are being made. And that's very true. And I think the difference is that this group who's holding out has proven that they're willing to burn the place down to do what they want, while other Republicans have strong things that they would like, but they're not willing to burn the place down. And that's caused a fair amount of animosity. Some of our meetings behind closed doors have been very cantankerous and have not been productive. As a matter of fact, I think people have actually been pushed further away because of these meetings rather than bringing together. But last night, before some of these additional concessions were made, I felt strongly that we were further apart than before we started voting because people have just dug in. And the more they vote, the more they dig in to their particular sides. I'm willing to yield. So we'll see today if that's correct. Now, just a moment on where I'm coming from personally on all of this, how I weigh in. Look, I'm one of those 200 that's voting for Kevin. There is no other candidate. That's the irony of this thing, is there's nobody who has really said, look, this is what I'd like to do, and this is how I'll do it, and who has shown that he or she can get 218 votes. And right now, this is quite frankly, it's Kevin's to lose. And Kevin can call for as many votes as he wants. And I think he's got the majority of the votes, and we'll see at what point he tires or is able to get more votes. So super frustrating that we're here and can't even get a speaker. I don't mind telling you, it's embarrassing being on the House floor, watching the unity of the Democrats and their what I would call momentum and our dysfunction. Um, Nobody can blame it on the small majority because it's exactly what Nancy Pelosi had last time, and she was able to deliver the speakership in one vote, and then went on to deliver pretty well everything on her agenda during that 2 years. And I think what's really most discouraging to me about the last couple of days is it is an indication of how the next 2 years likely will go, and the dysfunction that might be exhibited for 2 years. And no doubt, if that happens, the American people will not look at that kindly. So hope this rambling is helpful, and we'll try to keep you updated as this progresses.